When we think of Romans, we usually think of Romulus, Cicero, Caesar, Octavian, or Trajan. However, these are not the only remarkable personalities to whom Rome owes its greatness and fame. At the very end of the Roman state, from the ashes, raids, distractions, and despair, a person emerges who is worthy of respect and imitation. His name is Flavius Julius Valerius Majorian. The future Roman emperor was born into a noble Roman family of Illyrian Italian origin. His mother was the daughter of Majorian, Magister Autoriusque Milite, commander-in-chief of the army of the Western Roman Empire during the reign of Emperor Theodosius I. His grandfather marked brilliant victories against the barbarian tribes in Transdanubia, present-day Hungary. While his mother's name remains unknown, his father's name is believed to be Domni. He was a numerarius, supervisor of finance in the army of the famous general Flavius Aetius. At a relatively young age, he joined the campaigns of Aetius, defeating the Franks in Gaul, where he showed remarkable courage, and the Alemanni in Italy, during the reign of Emperor Valentinian III. He befriended Ricimer and Aegidius, two brave warriors who would play a decisive role in his future life and career, as well as in the fate of the Western Roman Empire. The young Majorian was popular in military circles and was even proposed by the emperor as a possible heir to the throne. Around 450, due to the dissatisfaction of Aetius, as well as a result of powers, intrigues, and aspirations, he was forced to leave the army, despite his successful career. Majorian spent 4 or 5 years on his father's estate. After the assassination of Aetius, he was summoned again by Valentinian III to the imperial court. The emperor's goal was to prevent discontent among soldiers in Aetius' army. Majorian's mission was delayed and unsuccessful, as the noble senator Petronius Maximus took advantage of the situation, organized a conspiracy, and the emperor was killed. Petronius Maximus promoted Majorian to the rank Comes Domesticorum, commander-in-chief of the imperial guard. Petronius Maximus remained on the throne for only a few months, until the invasion of Italy by the Vandals in 455. Rome was burnt and looted, and Petronius Maximus was killed. The Vandals and the Gallic aristocrats who supported them, unexpectedly for the Roman Senate, promoted Majorian to the new emperor, Avitus. He left Majorian in office, and Ricimer was given the post of commander-in-chief of the army, Magister Militum. Ricimer defeated the Vandals in Sicily, and Majorian and the imperial guard turned against the new emperor. The crucial moment for two comrades in arms had come. In 456 AD, after a battle, Avitus was defeated and overthrown. Thus, the empire remained with one emperor, Augustus of the East, Leo I. Uncertainty reigned in the West, although power was really in the hands of Majorian and Ricimer. In this complex political situation, the role of the Senate increased and determined the figure of the future emperor. Undoubtedly, this was Majorian. All classes of the Roman Empire, the plebs, the army, the Senate, and even the Eastern Roman Emperor after some hesitation, gave the power to Majorian. He thus became one of the few emperors elected by the Senate in the dominate era. On April 1st, 457, in the military camp near Ravenna, in a place called Ad Colomelas, near the small columns, with the support of Verissimo and the consent of the Eastern Roman Emperor Leo I, a ceremony was held to proclaim Majorian Emperor of the Western Roman Empire. His approval by the Senate took place on August 28 of that year. Thus, in 458, Majorian and Leo I became both consuls of the Roman Empire. On January 11, 458, Majorian issued his first edict where he presented his governing program. He accepted power, obeying public decision, confirming that he was the leader of the entire Roman people. He appealed to the Senate to share the state's affairs, pledging to protect him from the gossip and slander to which he himself had been subjected in his military career. We can only guess how sincere he might have been in his statements. It's an undisputable fact that there is a desire to establish good relations between him and the Senate, whose role is growing during this period. The impression of a return to the power and greatness of the Antonines was created. In this edict, Verissimo was named our relative and patrician, parente patricioque nostro. This emphasizes once again the particularly close relationship between the emperor and the important role of the patrician in the empire. There was an impression that there was a kind of division of power between Majorian and Verissimo. The barbarian nobleman dealt with military affairs, while the emperor with home affairs. Indeed, there was a special tandem of power. Since 458, Majorian has been actively involved in lawmaking. His 12 acts, known as Majorian's novels, are included in the Court of Theodosius II. They demonstrate the emperor's stated cooperation with the Senate and cover a wide range of issues, such as improving local self-government, reorganizing the tax system and tax collection, restoring some of the old order in the Roman Empire and strengthening public morals, care for the protection of public buildings in Rome, and changes and improvements in the church structure and polity. Legislation is not only important for the revival of Romani Orbis status, in English, World Roman Order. No less important is the restoration of the real power of the Roman Emperor over the entire Western Roman Empire. He was the first emperor to personally lead the army after a long hiatus, since the time of Theodosius I. This is an important step towards the restoration of the glorious past. His campaign was successful. Peace treaties were concluded with the Visigoths and Burgundians. and Theodoric was again recognized as a federate of the empire. After reaching a compromise with the Gallic aristocrats, he named Magnus for Praefectus Praetorius of Gaul and elects Aegidius, a good friend and faithful general, as commander-in-chief of the Gallic army. Thus, Majorian finally regained his imperial power in this part of the empire. Another important moment related to the restoration of the real power in the empire was the preparation of the emperor for an expedition against the Vandals in Africa. They were still a serious threat to Rome, and Africa was still a major food base for Italy. The expedition was unsuccessful. Due to treason, the Vandals attacked and destroyed Majorian's fleet, and he was forced to return to Gaul. In 461, in Ararat, he solemnly celebrated his 5th anniversary of his accession to the throne. He disbanded most of his army and returned to Italy with the remaining veteran warriors. However, an unpleasant surprise awaited him there. Ricimer accused the emperor of treason. On August 2nd, 461, he took away his tiara and purple cloak, and Majorian was killed a few days later. The power of the successful tandem in the Western Roman Empire collapsed. The friendship between the two men and their arrangements didn't withstand the harsh political reality. The emperor was sacrificed to barbaric ambition, and after him, the whole empire was sacrificed. In conclusion, we can say the following. Although Majorian didn't rank among the most famous statesmen in the history of ancient Rome, his rule is associated with the period of state restoration, which was preceded and followed by years of anarchy, interregnum, and devastation. He actively contributed to the preservation and restoration of the splendor of the Eternal City. In the last hours of the once mighty state, he revived and consolidated the real power of the Roman Emperor over the territory of the Western Roman Empire. Majorian was perhaps the last relatively successful and capable Roman emperor before the fall of the Western Roman Empire. According to the well-known British historian Edward Gibbon, Majorian presents the welcome discovery of a great and heroic character, such as sometimes arise in a degenerate age to vindicate the honor of the human species.